Welcome. This is the Silver Divorce Podcast, broadcast from the Whitfield Media Group studios in Chattanooga, Tennessee. We're brought to you by our title sponsor, Center for Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, and show sponsor, Medicare Misty. If you are 50 plus and you are considering or facing divorce, this is the show for you. We're going to help you navigate through that divorce journey. First, let me tell you about our sponsors. The Center for Sports Medicine and Orthopedics is the area's leading provider of multi-specialty orthopedic care. Using innovative surgical techniques and technologies, our team of specialists deliver exceptional results, backed by exceptional patient care. Learn more at sportmed.com. And Medicare Misty is a real person who can help answer your Medicare questions. Don't trust some 1-800 number. Get real help from her team at MedicareMisty.com. And now, let's podcast. Today, I'm pleased to welcome back an old friend, a good friend. I shouldn't say old, right, Pat?
Yeah.
When we're talking about
old.
great divorce. Pat has been a divorce care facilitator for 20 years, and she recently became a grief share facilitator. Mm-hmm. And I consider her the true definition of a servant leader, and she has a heart for helping others. Welcome, Pat.
Well, hello, Lisa, and hello, everyone. I'm so pleased to be here today to share and talk about a topic all of us divorced people have to deal with every year, and that's surviving the holidays.
That's right. Yeah. And it is not too soon to start talking about it. Before we get into that, though, I just wanted to say, did you see that moon this morning up in the sky?
No, I missed it. I heard it was a big, what is it, the hunter's moon?
Yeah, the hunter's moon. Mm-hmm. And the sky was perfectly clear. You could see all the stars. And, you know, I always think about that season of life where you have a full moon. You know, you go through that new moon period where it's dark and suddenly, you know, over time it becomes light, and then you have that big, beautiful full moon hanging in the sky. And I almost feel like the divorce journey is kind of like that.
Yep.
Right? You have that little sliver of light, and then as time goes by, it gets a little bit brighter, and then suddenly you're in that full moon of a new life. And we want to help people get through that journey. And today, you know, we know divorce is very stressful, but when it comes to the holidays, it adds a whole new layer of stress and complications and emotional upheaval. The waves of emotions I found to be just overwhelming. I was served with divorce papers 10 days before Christmas. Oh. And as I mentioned before, you know, I was blindsided. I didn't know that was the direction that we were headed. I was completely blindsided by it. So if you might imagine what it was like to be in that shock of that level of betrayal and still having people over for the holidays and still trying to plan for the holidays. And
my goodness,
you know, that's just the first year. And then it goes on, you know, because divorce is a journey and the healing process is a journey. Some of those decisions, they really made me want to hide out until the holidays were over. You know, if you're like, you know, I was, and I know, Pat, we're going to talk about your story, but some of the decisions that still have to get made are, you know, where are the kids going for the holidays? When are they going? How do we split up the family? Are we going to agree on how to buy gifts for the kids and grandkids? Even can we agree on spending limits? You have parents who want to outdo the other. And then what about those traditional friend parties? You know, you have those neighborhood parties or your long-term friend parties. Who gets invited? Are we both going to get invited? What if one person had an affair partner? Is that person going as well?
Oh, my. So
it's just the questions are just endless. And if this is your first holiday separated or divorced, we really want to help share some strategies that can help you And Pat has been in facilitating divorce for 20 years now, and she has a lot of experience in not only what she went through, but what she's helped other people go through. So that's what we're here for today.
Oh, absolutely. I know with my story, Lisa, the same year I got divorced, both my parents passed away from cancer, and I was their caregiver as well. So needless to say, there was a lot of stress and emotional upheaval going on. And my mother passed away in January. I got finally divorced in October, and a few weeks later, November, my dad passed away. And I'm telling you, it was awkward. People didn't even know how to approach me or talk to me. I mean, there was just so many losses in relationships with the family, the in-laws. There was a lot going on and a lot to deal with.
I can't even begin to imagine how you can get through a holiday season with all of that. You had to have felt numb at some point.
Oh, I did. I felt like I was just walking around in a fog because there was, like I said, there were so many losses. But thankfully, one of my friends stepped up and invited me and my daughter to their home for Christmas. And that was a relief. Mm-hmm. That was a relief. It was a blessing.
Yeah, and sometimes, you have to let go of what the traditions are in that first year and just breathe and just be.
Yeah.
Because you can't really think about planning.
No, I mean, when you have to bury two people and your family breaks up and then you don't have his side of the family, for me, except for my daughter and my brother, I didn't have anybody. And except a few good friends that really stepped up.
Yeah, and that's a tremendous loss.
It is.
To be dealing with.
It was a lot to deal with.
Yeah. Well, you might be wondering, why are we talking about the holidays so soon? It's only October, but we felt it was very important to help people cope with the holidays and to give some strategies to plan ahead. And that's really the most important thing, is to think about, what are your goals for the holiday? Is your goal maybe to keep the same family traditions intact? Is your goal, maybe you have a certain thing you really want to do? Maybe it is you take the kids to midnight mass every Christmas Eve and you want to make sure you hang on to that tradition. Mm-hmm. Or maybe a goal is to have a more relaxed holiday and not be so stressed. So I think that is one of the most important things to start with. Or what are your goals? Sit down and think about that.
Right.
What do you want the outcome of the holiday to be?
That's where you just plan ahead. And also, I want to say the holidays can amplify feelings. Your emotions come out, the sadness, the grief, the anger, the loneliness. And the thing is, you've got to experience and process through all that, and your emotions can ambush you at any time. And try not to judge yourself emotionally. After all, you've experienced a loss, and it's normal what you're feeling. And remind yourself that it's easier with time, and know that you're on a healing journey right now, new season of life.
You said something really important, and that is give yourself permission to feel that way. You may feel like, I have to put on this happy face and I have to do everything that I've always done, and I have to go to these parties and make people believe that everything is normal. No, you don't. It's okay to feel how you're feeling, to feel sadness. I know my first holiday while going through divorce, as I mentioned, was Christmas. And I was so focused on my anger at that time. I didn't want to go to any parties. I did not want to put on any effort into preparing for Christmas at all. And, I felt bad for my poor mom. My mom was spending the winter with me for the first time. She came from Illinois to Tennessee to spend 4 months, and I was just not fit to be around. I was just
Well,
so focused on the aspects of my divorce.
Well, you were so hurt, Lisa, and you were blindsided. I mean, you haven't really had time to even process through all that.
No. So Pat, what are some strategies that you would recommend to us to manage in situations like that where you're still dealing with those emotions, you're angry, it's relatively new for you, and it is something that you may not be capable of keeping up with all of the normal traditions?
Well, personally, I think it's a good idea to scale down expectations and set realistic ones. The holidays consume a lot of energy, and prioritize where you want to spend your energy. Is it decorating? Is that what you like to do? Baking or going shopping with friends? But don't expect to do it all like you always have, and you've got to give yourself some grace and be willing to accept help from others. That was my big problem.
And it's okay to ask for help, too. I know that for me, I had no intention of putting up the Christmas tree. I had no intention of decorating. I was just in this dark place of anger. And my youngest daughter came over to the house and she insisted. She's like, nope, we are going to put up this tree. And she did all of the decorating. And in the end, it was a huge relief. And it made me feel so much better about celebrating. To remember also what the season is about.
She was showing love.
She was showing love and invite the kids over for a pizza party and a decorating night. Talk to your friends and let them know that you're just struggling. You don't have to go into those details, but I'm struggling right now, and maybe have a cookie baking party at your house. I know I always loved holiday shopping. I took great delight in shopping for the kids and grandkids. I loved being out in the store. I loved the music. I loved the decorations. And
don't tell me you were one of those people that got out at 4:00 in the morning and stood in line to get into a store to get a sale.
No, I didn't do that. But I would always start shopping in October. And I would finish shopping by the 1st of December, and then I would be so depressed because I didn't have anything to shop for. So I would go back out about the 14th of December just so I could experience the holiday in the mall. And I would pick up a few more things. So, but think about that. What are just some of the small things that can bring you some joy in the holiday while, you may not be completely keeping your normal traditions alive, but pick some things that are small areas that can bring you some joy.
And just realize it's a period of adjustment. It's a different season of life, a new chapter of life. And just like Lisa said, just start your new traditions. There's nothing wrong with that. And move forward.
Yeah, so let's talk about those social engagements. If you were like me, I wanted to self-isolate.
Yep.
I had no desire to go out and face people. And that's probably the worst thing that you can do.
It is.
Because self-isolating kind of spirals down into depression oftentimes. And it's harder to even get out after that. So, Pat, what are some things that we can think about as those social engagements come in?
Well, Lisa, I just got to say, now is the time not to self-isolate. I do understand how awkward you might feel going to these parties, but the most important thing I want to emphasize is to avoid numbing yourself with alcohol or drugs. That's the last thing you want to do. And these things can trigger depression and cause more isolation. And let me offer a few things here that you can do. Instead of big parties, think of small gatherings. Invite a couple of close friends to go to lunch with. Invite a friend to see a movie or go to a play. Go on a holiday light tour. And a big thing is people are our community needs volunteers. Volunteer to help with food drives. There's meals for seniors, toy drives. There's so many charities out there that need help that time of year. And another thing I think is very important, focus on your spiritual side. Many churches have additional services during the holidays, and you can practice mindful meditation, journal, and do some self-care. Even try to go to the gym and exercise and take care of yourself.
Those are some good tips. And if you think of it this way, what are some of the things that your spouse never wanted to do with you?
Yeah.
Maybe, your spouse would never have considered going on a holiday light tour.
Yep.
Or maybe some of those choir concerts. Many churches and organizations have fabulous choir concerts this time of year. Maybe you had a spouse who wouldn't be caught dead going to those. Well, this is your chance.
Yep.
Think about, make a list of those things that you have always wanted to do but couldn't.
Right.
And now is your time to call up that close friend or call up your adult child and ask them to go with you. So you think of it as not something's been taken away from you, but something has been added. You now can do what you weren't able to do before.
Exactly. It's a new season and a new tradition.
That's right. Yes. And then also, one big thing for me was to stay off social media during the holidays. And not only can seeing the holiday celebrations of other people trigger some sadness in you, but seeing your ex or soon-to-be ex out celebrating can cause you some extreme pain. But then on the other hand, be careful of posting your own celebrations. You might be thinking, oh, I'm going to show him or her that I can go on without them. But if you're in a contentious divorce situation, you could just inflame that situation with your ex or soon-to-be ex. So try to just stay off social media. We all know that the only thing people post on social media is the best life, the best light, and it isn't necessarily true.
That's right.
Just don't cause yourself any further pain. Just let it go for a little bit. We're going to talk a little bit more about some other strategies, but right now we need to take a break to recognize our title sponsor, the Center for Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. When we come back, we're going to talk about how to handle those holiday parties.
Tired of living with pain? Center for Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery offers cutting-edge tools and advanced technologies to get you back to the life you love, faster. With us, you can recover at home after surgery in hours, not days. Our highly experienced team of physicians deliver the exceptional and personalized care you deserve. Center for Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery. We're the center for pain today, gone tomorrow. Learn more at sportmed.com.
All right. And now we're back, and joining me is Pat Owens, a longtime divorce care and grief share facilitator. So, Pat, let's shift gears and talk about holiday parties. Maybe you're working, and if you are, you have to attend that boss's work party. Or maybe your neighborhood or HOA has that traditional neighborhood holiday party. And if you feel like you must attend, what are some strategies for coping with those parties?
Well, Lisa, I can tell you from my own experience, the number one rule is to anticipate questions.
Oh, right. Where is he? Where is she?
Are
you getting divorced? What's going on? What'd they do?
Especially if this is your first holiday alone, have a pat answer ready. You don't have to get into specifics. It's none of their business, actually. You can just say something like, look, I'm going through a hard time right now. Please pray for me, and change the subject. You can be direct. There's nothing wrong with that. Have your speech prepared. Keep it short and simple. And again, nobody needs details of your personal life. The other thing I'd like to say is evaluate your invitations that you receive and determine if you really, really need to be there or if you can skip it. If you truly must attend, consider being there just maybe for the cocktail hour and then leave. you know what? And it's okay to set boundaries to keep yourself sane and healthy. And if there's a good chance that the ex or soon to be ex is going to be there, evaluate if you really need to go there and if it's a big triggering effect for you. Perhaps maybe you can arrive early and express your good wishes. I can't speak today. Wishes, and leave. It's okay to do that.
And that's an important point, is really looking at it from the lens of what is going to be triggering if you know that your ex is going to be there. Is it really worth the emotional trauma that you're going to go through?
Exactly.
And if your hosts know you well enough, you can certainly say to them, I'm going through a really tough time right now. I'm going to stay home for this party, and I hope you understand.
Right.
You don't have to go into details, but most people, if they know, they'll understand. And then there is always next year if you want to attend those parties next year. So don't feel as though your first year or even maybe your second year. My divorce was finalized in August, and 3 months later there was Christmas again, and I was freshly divorced, and I still wasn't to a point where I wanted to go to a lot of parties or socialize with a lot of people that didn't know me well. So give yourself grace, give yourself time. There will be a lot of holidays in the future.
Oh yeah. And go ahead, Lisa.
No, go. I was just going to say, we talked about those exes who may be at parties. So let's talk about that, about dealing with exes throughout the holidays.
Oh yeah, that's a biggie.
Oh yeah, if you still have minor children, or even you might have, teens in the home, or you might have adult children, everybody is going to be anxious and confused, and your holiday plans need to take their well-being into account. And I can tell you, my adult daughter, one of them, has already talked about what she would like to see happen for the holidays. And this was September, so you're not the only one who has it on their mind. And my daughter, her ideal plan would be for the entire family to come together for Christmas at her house. That might be a little bit of a stretch, where that is something that I am going to have to process and think about and decide, not only for my boundary and if it will make me comfortable, but how will that make other people around me feel? How will everybody else feel, knowing that, we're there together? So it is, I say that to point out that your kids are going to be thinking about it already. So, Pat,
right.
give us some help here. Give us some strategies.
Yes, ma'am. Well, that's a good point, Lisa. It's not just about you. It's about the family and the kids, and you have to focus on them. And this goes back to plan early, and October is not too early to begin communicating those plans with your kids. And remember, you're celebrating 2 different holidays in 2 different households now. It's a big change. And try to document the plan via email. Should you have a phone conversation or text, follow that up with an email that is clear and that both of you understand the agreement. Above all, be clear in your communication and try to be respectful. Also, be flexible so you two can come to an agreement well ahead of the holidays for the children. And if you have a spouse who is hoping to reconcile, watch out for the unrealistic expectations. And if you need help in crafting a plan, talk to your therapist or ask a friend or some divorced friends on how they manage to do all that.
Yeah, ideally, if you have an amicable divorce and are civil enough, you can both come to an agreement on what the plan is in advance. And if you're not amicable, crafting a plan may not be possible. In that case, it is best if you communicate your intentions early. And if you have adult children, you can have those discussions with your adult children early, like, my daughter was talking about it in September. But it's very important to remember, and I have to remind myself of this, that it puts those adult children in a very difficult position. You have to be realistic about how much time you expect them to spend with you. So now suddenly they are going to not just your house, but they're trying to go to their other parent's house. And then if they're married or have a significant other, they're trying to go to that person's house. And you don't want to create a scenario where the adult children just say, we're not going anywhere, we're staying home. And that could be an alternative where the adult children say, we're going to have Christmas at our house. And maybe, you are stopping in for that celebration. But just try to be realistic about how much time you expect those kids to spend with you. So
yeah, and sometimes one parent tries to outdo the other. You need to set some spending limits and try to focus the holiday on the experiences and being with your loved ones. And if you're civil, again, you may consider being together with the kids when they open their gifts. That's okay. Plan ahead.
Yeah, that's important. I've seen where one parent will try to get back at the other by doing an elaborate Christmas gifting, and it leaves the other one kind of feeling bad about themselves. And the holidays aren't about seeing who can outdo the other and give the best gifts. They're really about bringing the family together to celebrate the spirit of the season. And it's a spiritual celebration, not necessarily about who can outspend the other. So, Pat, would you recommend that the kids get involved in the planning?
Oh, absolutely. Strangely, in a divorce, and this is true, children sometimes secretly feel guilty and think they are to blame for the divorce. That's just their perspective and what they understand. And especially if they see mom or dad crying or being emotional, it's going to affect them. And, they both want their parents to be happy. And try to avoid pulling them into any negative conversations or comments, any bashing in front of the children. Just don't do that. And get them involved. Ask them how they would like to spend the holiday.
I think we have oftentimes forget that our divorce creates a new layer of stress for our adult children.
Yes.
And one of my daughters reminded me of that. It's like, she said, your divorce wasn't just hard on you. She said it was very hard on me too. And we can get so self-focused and also focused on perhaps getting back at that ex or showing that ex that we forget about the other parts of the family.
Right. It's their relationship. It's different from you and your soon-to-be spouse or ex-spouse. I mean, it's a different relationship, so you have to let them figure that out and manage it.
And oftentimes, no matter who does what wrong, the kids are still going to love their parents.
Exactly.
They're still going to love their mom. They're still going to love their dad. They want them both to be happy no matter what happened to cause the marriage to fall apart. So it's good to keep that in mind. And then also, being a grandparent myself, I have to say this, don't be so focused on the spouse that you forget the grandparents.
Yep.
And the grandparents need time as well during the holidays. So it might be time to start that new holiday tradition. Instead of dwelling on those traditions that you lost, create a new one. Maybe it is watching a favorite movie, or maybe it's going ice skating on Christmas Eve. Here in our region, we have an outdoor ice skating facility that pops up. And I know many places, some even have indoors. Maybe it is we gather and we go ice skating and have hot cocoa, or as Pat mentioned earlier, gather the family to go volunteer to serve meals to the homeless
Yes.
or the elderly. And again, as I said, think of those things you have always wanted to do, but you did not have time or your spouse would not agree. It is a time for new opportunities. It doesn't necessarily have to be that everybody gathers at one time to have one meal and open presents. Think about what can we do differently and create a brand new tradition in this new family dynamic.
Exactly. I know one of our holiday traditions now, my daughter, she books a cabin for Thanksgiving in the mountains, and we get our food and gather up the family and go there. And it's just a place that's refreshing. It's different. It's exciting. It's new. And instead of just sitting around the house and eating, it's a fun way to do things. So you have to expand your mind and think about things like that, which you could do differently and enjoy.
Yeah, that is a good point. My oldest daughter, we were talking about Thanksgiving, and usually that was a day where you started the day before cooking. You cooked all day long. The whole family gathered at 4 o'clock to eat. And then afterwards, everybody retired to either watch TV or do dishes.
Right.
And this year she said, we're not going to do that. This year, we know a restaurant that you can pick up a meal from for the entire family, very affordable, and we're going to do something different this year. So it is not going to be a full day of cooking and cleaning, but let's have a meal, then let's go on a walk, let's enjoy the outside, let's enjoy each other and not be focused around sitting around that table.
Yeah, and just not be stressful. And I know for us, we like some of the simple things, like on Thanksgiving, we love to watch the Macy's parade. We have it on, and we love to watch the dog show and look at all the different dogs. I mean, maybe that sounds a little corny, but we like doing that, and that's a new tradition.
Yeah, that is wonderful. Have your family over for a cookie baking night, or bread baking. Think about things that you normally wouldn't do, and instead of decorating your house together, invite some close friends over and serve hot cocoa and cheesecake and have a decorating party. But try to do things that remain manageable under your stress levels, but engage with others, and others can help you do things that you're finding very challenging to do because you're so deep into your feelings about what is happening during the divorce process.
Right. And the big thing is try to stay connected with your friends. And again, as Lisa and I stress so much, it's just so important to plan ahead, and that way things will flow a lot better.
So it's not too soon.
No.
We're right before Halloween.
Yep.
It's the perfect time to start having those conversations and start planning for the upcoming holidays.
Exactly.
Well, Pat, one thing I have learned about you is that you are passionate about helping people through divorce. And I wanted to share with our listeners what divorce care is and how someone can be connected with a divorce care group in their area, because that I found to be tremendously helpful in my divorce. Would you share with us a little bit about that and how people can get connected?
Absolutely. And thank you, Lisa, for your very kind words. But I just got to let you and everyone know that when I do this, it's the Lord working through me. And I'm thankful for that. Now, on divorce care, it is a 13-week program that helps you walk through the issues of divorce. It covers all your emotions like anger and loneliness, as well as financial issues, dealing with your other spouse, and so much more. Each weekly class is self-contained, so you can join in at any time. Don't just think just because the program just started you can't join. You can. And it will certainly help you on your healing journey and new season of life. I went through it myself many years ago, and I was a very angry woman, and it really helped me get some direction and got my feet on the ground. So get online, get on your browser and put in divorcecare.org. Then click on Find a Group, put in your zip code, and there should be many options that pop up where you can join in. It's super, super easy.
And I want to say that it's inexpensive too.
Yes.
All that I paid was the cost of the workbook, and I think it was $20.
Yes.
And once you have done that, you can attend again without any additional cost.
Right.
I went through divorce care twice.
Uh-huh.
You go through it the first time, and you might be in a different phase of your divorce,
right.
and different things hit you. You go through the second time, and there's another section that's more appealing to you. So it is something that people often do 2 or 3 times even. And
right. A lot of times, the first time some people come through, Lisa, they're just in shock. Mm-hmm. They just need some people around them to support them while they're grieving and crying. And then the second time, or maybe even the third time they come through, they can focus more on getting some help and healing for themselves.
That's right. I highly recommend it. Go online, as Pat said, divorcecare.org, and enter your zip code, and you'll find some organizations in your area
exactly
where you can attend, and it is well worth it. So, Pat, I am so glad you joined me today. You had some great tips for the holidays, and we'd like to give people the takeaways. 1, plan ahead.
Yes.
Have your conversation early. Try to get your plan in writing. So once you agree on a plan, email that plan to your ex or soon-to-be ex so that you have it documented that you both agree on what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. And focus on the experiences and the spiritual side of the celebration. Try something new.
Right.
Don't be afraid to try something new and come out of your comfort zone.
Right. And don't freak out about the parties. Like we said, set your boundaries and plan ahead. And it's okay to decline an invitation or contact the host and let her know your situation if you cannot attend. But you can draw your boundaries and feel more comfortable in what you're doing.
That's right. Draw your boundaries, stand in your power.
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you. And please join us for the next episode, and make sure you subscribe to the Silver Divorce Podcast. We welcome your feedback. You may also email us at silverdivorcepodcast@gmail.com, or join our Facebook and Instagram pages at Silver Divorce Podcast. And I also ask, please leave us a rating and a review. Those are so important to grow the podcast and attract great guests like Pat. I keep asking her to come back over and over again.
Well, thank you. I appreciate
it.
I appreciate it, Lisa. Thank you.
Well, this podcast is brought to you by our title sponsor, Center for Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, and show sponsor, Medicare Misty. Center for Sports Medicine and Orthopedics is the area's leading provider of multi-specialty orthopedic care using innovative surgical techniques and technologies. Our team of specialists deliver exceptional results backed by exceptional patient care. Learn more at sportmed.com. Medicare Misty is a real person who can help answer your Medicare questions. Don't trust some 1-800 number. Get real help from her team at MedicareMisty.com. Whether you are considering divorce or are newly in the divorce process, we'll help you navigate and tell you things your attorney might not tell you. So until next time, remember, divorce is one event. It does not define who you are. I'm Lisa, and I'll see you next time.